Welcome to Elderly Life World, a space where we gently explore how to live healthier, live with more meaning, and maybe live a little longer in this beautiful chapter of life. I'm a health professional, and I've spent over 30 years walking alongside people over 50 here in the U.S. And today I want to invite you to sit down for a moment and reflect with me on something that might sound far-fetched, but actually isn't so far away. Living to 100. Sounds impossible? I understand. But let me ask you to imagine this. It's a calm morning. You're sitting on your porch with a warm cup of tea in your hand. You've just turned 100. But your mind is still sharp, your legs are steady, and your memories are as clear as the day you walked your grandchild to school for the first time. Does that feel too far off? Well, to me, it doesn't. Because I've met people like that. Not just one, but many. And they're not superheroes. They're ordinary folks who live with love, and who've quietly kept up a few small daily habits. I still remember Eleanor, one of my patients. She was 93 when she said to me, "Doctor, I didn't get to this age by luck. I got here by never skipping the little things, my cup of tea, my morning walk, saying hello to a neighbor." You see, longevity doesn't come from some magical secret. It comes from the simple things, done consistently, over time. And the beautiful truth is, you can start anytime, even today. So in this video, I'll be sharing 12 daily habits, grounded in both science and real life, that can help you live not just longer, but healthier, and more joyfully. You don't need to change your whole life. Just choose one small shift, and let it show up every day. Are you ready? Let's begin gently, like opening the window to morning light, with hope in your heart, and a new breath for your next chapter. Habit 1. Sleeping with your body's natural rhythm. Giving yourself permission to truly heal. Let me ask you this. Can you remember the last time you had a really good night's sleep? Not the kind where you toss and turn or stare at the ceiling, but the kind where you simply drifted off, like a child, breathing softly. No worries, no fatigue, just rest. That feeling. It's more powerful than any supplement I've ever prescribed. Over the years, working with older adults, I've come to believe this. Good sleep, natural, steady sleep, is one of the strongest medicines for longevity. The people who live the longest, they don't stay up late. They don't bring their phones into bed. They tend to fall asleep soon after the sun goes down. They listen to their bodies rather than fighting them. And in doing so, they give themselves permission to enter a state of repair every night, where the brain is cleaned, memory gets sorted, and cells quietly heal. I remember a 95-year-old woman who once told me during a checkup, "I haven't used an alarm clock in over 20 years. When the sun sets, I sleep. When the sun rises, I wake. It's like I'm a tree, growing with the light, resting with the dark." I thought that was beautiful. And she was right. Modern science calls it circadian rhythm, our internal clock designed to sync with the natural world. But sadly, most of us have stopped listening to it. We light up our nights with screens and bulbs. We scroll through phones at midnight. And then we wonder why we can't sleep, why we're moody, why we forget things. Sleep isn't just rest. It's a quiet form of healing. And you deserve that kind of sleep. Not from a bottle, but from honoring your body's natural rhythm. So tonight, try this. Turn off your screens an hour before bed. Read a few pages of a book. Sip a warm cup of tea. Gaze at the moon if you can see it. Let your body know it's time to be still, to rest, to recover. Habit 2. Eat until you're 80% full, because feeling full doesn't always mean you've had enough. I once asked a Japanese gentleman, 97 years old at the time, still riding his bicycle every day, "What's your secret to a long life?" He smiled, took a slow sip of tea, and said in a calm, steady voice, "I eat just enough. Never until I feel heavy." In Japan, there's a beautiful concept called hara hachibu. It means eat until you're 80% full. It's not about dieting. It's not about restriction. It's about listening to your body's quiet voice and stopping before it has to raise a red flag. Have you noticed this? As children, we naturally eat slowly, chew carefully, and stop when we're full. But as adults, we rush, eating while working, watching TV, scrolling on our phones. And somewhere along the way, we forget what enough even feels like. I had a patient named Linda, 68 years old, living alone after her husband passed. She used to eat irregularly, often late at night, and constantly felt tired and bloated. When I introduced her to Hara Hachi Bu, she started slowing down, sitting properly at the table, and putting her fork down once she felt satisfied. 6 months later, she wasn't just lighter. Her digestion improved, she slept better, and she told me something that stayed with me. I feel connected to myself again. Because eating isn't just about fuel. It's about care, attention, and respect for your own body. And the beautiful part is, you don't have to change what's on your plate. You just have to change how you eat. Slow down a little. Listen to your belly. Stop when you feel enough. Don't wait for your stomach to shout. Because sometimes, real fullness comes not when we keep going, but when we know when to pause. Habit 3. Morning sunlight. Nature's quiet gift to begin your day. Let me paint a familiar picture. You open your window in the morning. The early sunlight slips through the leaves and gently touches your skin. Warm, soft, not harsh. And in that moment, there's something inside you that feels calm. That feeling. It's not just in your head. It's your body receiving its first natural medicine of the day. I often ask my patients, if there were a vitamin that could strengthen your bones, boost your immunity, regulate your sleep, and even lift your mood, would you take it? Then I smile and say, you don't have to buy it. It's already out there, in the morning sun. Morning sunlight, especially before 9 a.m., does more than produce vitamin D. It helps reset your body's internal clock. It improves your sleep at night, calms your nervous system during the day, and gently syncs your immune system with nature's rhythm. I remember an 88-year-old man who told me once, "Every morning, I walk my dog around the park. Doesn't matter if it's sunny or cloudy, I just go. I don't think about health. I just feel like I'm really alive." And I believe him. Because people who live long don't just live long, they live in rhythm. They live slowly, steadily, and in tune with the natural world. You can begin with something just as simple. Open a window. Step out onto your balcony. Take a 10-minute walk outdoors in the morning. Let the light touch your face and your hands. You don't need to do anything special, just be there. And if you ask me, "Doctor, can something that small really make a difference?" I'll say this. Yes, just like every ray of sunlight helps brighten the day, every small habit can help you build a long and radiant life. Habit 4. Stay mentally curious, so your mind never truly grows old. I once asked a 91-year-old woman, tiny in stature, but with eyes that sparkled like a child's. "What feels different now compared to when you were young?" She smiled and said, "My body got older, but I managed to keep one thing, my curiosity." That answer stayed with me, because after decades of working with older adults, I've come to believe something deeply true. We don't all age the same way. Some people feel old at 60, tired, bored, mentally shut down. But others, they're 90, asking questions, eager to learn something new, still exploring life like it holds surprises around every corner. And science agrees. When we challenge our brains, whether it's learning to use a new phone, doing a crossword puzzle, or reading a book that stretches our thinking, our brains grow new connections. That means slower memory loss, better mood, and a sense of mental freshness. I remember a man named Arthur. He retired at 70 and picked up piano lessons at 72. I once asked him, "Isn't it hard learning at your age?" He laughed and said, "Of course it is. But every time I learn a new song, I feel alive again." Have you ever felt that? That flicker of joy when you suddenly understand something? That little spark that lights up inside when you say, "Ah, now I get it." That's youth, right there. And I believe, as long as we stay curious, we never truly grow old. You don't have to go back to school. Just allow yourself to ask questions, open a book, talk to someone with a different perspective, or simply sit quietly and ask, "What did I learn today?" Because your mind is like a garden. If you don't plant anything, it dries out. But even a single seed of curiosity can make it bloom again, at any age. Habit 5. Eat more plants, less meat, because your body needs nourishment, not just to be filled. I often share this simple image with my patients. Think of your body like a garden. You can't expect it to thrive if you're pouring in chemicals and junk every day. Your body is the same. It needs living food, real food, the kind with natural colors, gentle scents, grown from the earth, touched by sun and time. The longest living people in the world, from Okinawa in Japan to Ikaria in Greece, have one clear thing in common. They eat mostly vegetables, beans, fruits, and whole grains. They eat meat only once in a while, often as a side dish, not the center of the plate. I remember an old Italian man named Giuseppe. He was 94, living in a small house on a hillside. Every day, he picked greens from his garden, made a simple bean soup, ate it with a slice of dark bread, and enjoyed a small glass of red wine with dinner. He told me, "Eat less, but eat real." And science backs this up. A plant-rich diet lowers the risk of heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. It feeds the healthy bacteria in your gut, which plays a huge role in immunity and even mood. It gives you steady, gentle energy, instead of that heavy, sluggish feeling from too much animal protein. But here's the key. These people aren't strict or extreme. They still enjoy a glass of wine with friends. They eat cake on birthdays. They laugh while raising a toast. Because real health doesn't come from restriction. It comes from balance. It's not about eating what's perfect. It's about eating with awareness, with gratitude, and with care. So no, you don't have to give up the foods you love. Just let plants be the main character on your plate. Let your meals be a daily act of nourishment, not just a habit of filling up. Because in the end, what we really need isn't just fullness. It's the feeling of being cared for, from the inside out. Habit 6. Connect with others daily, because your heart needs connection to keep beating strong. Can you remember the last time you laughed, really laughed with someone? Maybe it was a morning cup of tea with an old friend, a quick chat with your neighbor while watering the plants, a warm hug that wasn't rushed or expected, just there because someone was happy to see you. I ask you this because, after decades in healthcare and backed by science, I've come to believe people don't just need medicine, we need each other. I once had a patient named Rosa. She was 87, living alone out in the suburbs. During one of her checkups, she said to me, "Doctor, my blood pressure pills help, but nothing works better than someone calling me in the morning just to ask how I slept." And she was absolutely right. People who stay socially connected, even through short daily conversations, often have lower blood pressure, better moods, and longer lives. Why? It's simple. When we connect, our bodies release oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. It calms the nervous system, reduces stress, and helps the heart feel safe, both literally and emotionally. You don't need a large circle of friends. You just need one person you can talk to, honestly, without needing to pretend. Or maybe you become the one who starts it. Call someone. Knock on a neighbor's door and say, "I just wanted to wish you a good day." I often tell my patients, if you don't have someone to talk to yet, join a cooking class, a meditation group, or visit your local library. Not because something is missing in you, but because you deserve the kind of connection that nourishes the soul. In the end, longevity isn't just measured in years. It's measured in all the moments you feel seen, heard, and loved. Habit 7. Live with purpose. When you know why you wake up each morning, I once met a 92-year-old man living in a small village in Northern California. Every morning at 5 a.m., he'd wake up, make a cup of tea, take a slow walk to his garden, tend a few rows of vegetables, and sit down to write quietly in an old notebook. I asked him, "Don't you get tired waking up so early?" He smiled and said, "I don't wake up because of an alarm. I wake up because I still have something to do, something to love." That answer, so simple, held one of the deepest secrets to longevity. In Japan, they have a word for it, ikigai. It means reason for being, the purpose that gets you out of bed each morning. And here's the beautiful thing, the longest living people in the world, they never live just to pass the time. They live with intention, with love, with something they still care about. Some care for their grandchildren, some water orchids by the window, some bake cookies every afternoon to share with neighbors. Some volunteer at the local library just to read stories to children. No act is too small if it gives the heart a reason to keep giving. One of my patients, Ruth, 76 years old, fell into depression after she retired. But she slowly found joy again by tutoring the neighborhood kids after school. She once told me, "I never imagined that teaching fourth grade math for just 1 hour a day would give me back the meaning I'd lost." And that's the truth. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. It just has to be enough to make you want to greet the morning. Enough to remind you, today I still have something to offer. If you've ever wondered, do I still matter? Let me tell you, yes. You always do. As long as you're breathing, you have the power to make a difference. For yourself, for others, for the little world around you. Because what keeps us alive, Gihau, isn't just a beating heart. It's a heart that knows why it's still beating. Habit 8. Move daily. You don't need to be fast. You just need to show up. I often tell my patients, you don't need to run marathons to live long. You just need to get up and keep moving. For older adults, movement isn't about losing weight or getting in shape anymore. It's the language of survival. It's how blood keeps flowing, joints stay loose, the heart keeps a steady rhythm, and the spirit stays awake. I once cared for a woman named Mabel, 85 years old. She didn't exercise in the usual sense, but every morning she swept the walkway outside her home, tended to her little garden, and in the afternoon she'd walk to the park, sit and read, then stroll back home. She told me, "I don't do much, but I don't let my body sit still for too long." And that, right there, is the secret. So many people think movement has to be sweaty and intense, but gentle daily movement, done consistently, is what creates lasting strength. You can stand up every hour, walk around the house after meals, take the stairs instead of the elevator, water your plants, fold the laundry, wipe down the table. Every time you move, you're sending a quiet signal to your body. I'm still here. I still want to live well. Studies have shown just 20 minutes of walking each day lowers your risk of heart disease. Daily movement reduces chronic inflammation, a silent cause of many age-related illnesses. It also eases anxiety, improves sleep, and helps keep your memory sharp. But more than that, it helps you feel connected to your own body. Every step, every breath is a reminder. I'm still alive, and I'm grateful for that. You don't need to be fast. You just need to keep going. Habit 9. Quiet rituals to calm the mind. Letting the heart breathe a little slower. Have you ever felt like nothing's really wrong, but your chest feels tight? Your heart beats a little faster, your breath shortens, and your mind feels like muddy water that just won't settle. I've heard that feeling described by many of my older patients, and I often ask them, "Did your day have even one moment of stillness?" Some pause and say, "I'm not sure. I had the TV on all day. I was on my phone most of the time." And that, right there, is why so many people feel more tired as they age. Not because the body is weaker, but because the mind has never been given time to rest. But here's the good news. Peace doesn't require anything grand. It can begin with something as small as a cup of tea, sipped in silence. No TV, no phone. It can be 10 minutes of morning meditation, just sitting, breathing, doing nothing. Or a whispered prayer at bedtime. A gentle reminder that you're still here, still breathing. And that's already enough. A friend of mine, John, 78 years old, sits on his porch every evening, doing nothing but watching the clouds float by. I once asked him, "What do you think about when you're out there?" He smiled and said, "Nothing really. I'm just here." And that moment of being here is something many of us are losing. Research shows daily quiet rituals help lower cortisol, the stress hormone. Deep breathing slows your heart rate, improves sleep, and supports your immune system. Consistent stillness also helps your brain process better, easing anxiety and lifting depression, especially in older adults. You don't have to meditate like a monk. You don't need the perfect tea or the perfect prayer. You just need to give yourself a moment to listen inward, every day, even just for a little while. Because in this noisy world, those who can still protect a small corner of peace are the ones who stay truly well. Habit 10. Let go and forgive, so your heart can breathe freely again. I once sat beside an 82-year-old woman who had just recovered from a mild heart attack. And when she was feeling better, she told me something I'll never forget. "Doctor, I don't think my heart got tired from illness. I think it got tired from holding on to anger for over 40 years. Her words stopped me in my tracks. Because in every older heart, I believe there are quiet corners, places where pain settled long ago. Disappointment, betrayal, injustice. And somehow, We let those emotions take root and stay. But you know what? The heart wasn't made to carry pain. It was made to love, to beat gently, and to last. Science confirms what many of us feel deep down. Holding on to anger, resentment, and bitterness for years can raise your risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, and immune issues. But forgiveness, though it doesn't mean forgetting or excusing, lightens the emotional load, soothes the nervous system, and helps the heart find peace again. I once had a male patient, 75 years old, who hadn't spoken to his younger brother in over 2 decades. He told me, "I don't even remember why we argued, but I do know that every time I hear his name, something in my chest aches." One day, he wrote a letter, not to ask for forgiveness, not to reopen old wounds, just to say, "I'm tired, and I want to let this go." A few weeks later, his blood pressure was down, but more importantly, he was sleeping through the night again. And I believe it wasn't the medicine. It was because his heart had finally been allowed to rest. You don't need to say it out loud. You don't need to make a phone call or send a letter, unless you're ready. But in your own heart, you can quietly say, "I'm tired, and I choose to let go, because I deserve peace." Not forgiving keeps you bound to the past. But forgiveness, real, quiet forgiveness, isn't for the other person. It's for you. So you can breathe again. Because in the end, a long life isn't about just lasting. It's about living lightly and peacefully. Habit 11. Limit harmful substances. Live with balance so you can keep enjoying life. During a routine checkup, I once asked a 90-year-old gentleman, sharp mind, glowing skin, still cooking for himself every day, "Do you ever drink alcohol?" He smiled and said, "Sure. 1 glass of red wine every evening, but just one. I drink for joy, not to forget life." That answer stayed with me. Because the longest living people I've met, they're not the ones who avoid everything. They're the ones who practice moderation. They don't smoke. They don't drink until they're numb. They don't overload their plates with fried food, sugar, or processed snacks every day. But they also don't live in constant restriction. They enjoy life, mindfully. One older woman I cared for kept a single chocolate bar in her drawer. She told me, "Every Sunday afternoon I eat 1 square. It's my way of reminding myself I still know how to enjoy life." And that truly is what makes longevity sustainable. When we choose quality over quantity, the body isn't overwhelmed. The liver gets to rest, the heart doesn't have to work overtime, and the mind feels lighter. Science backs this up. A moderate amount of alcohol, like 1 glass of red wine a day, can support heart health if timed and balanced properly. Avoiding tobacco greatly reduces your risk of lung cancer, stroke, and heart disease. Eating with intention lowers chronic inflammation, a silent enemy of healthy aging. And here's the truth. Living in balance isn't just about staying healthy, it's about appreciating every moment more fully. When you're not ruled by harmful habits, you'll notice your body feels clearer, lighter, and even small joys begin to feel just right. So if you're asking, do I have to give up all the things I love? My answer is no. You just have to ask yourself, am I enjoying this or depending on it? Because in the end, living long isn't about avoiding every temptation. It's about choosing what's truly worth taking with you on this journey. Habit 12. Practicing gratitude daily. So every breath feels like a gift. You know what's interesting? The people who live the longest aren't usually the ones who have the most. They're the ones who appreciate the most. I once asked a lovely woman named Sarah, she was 96 at the time, "What helps you stay so radiant every morning, even though your body's not as quick as it used to be?" She smiled and said without hesitation, "Because I still wake up. I still see the light. I still hear the birds." That's enough to be thankful for. That moment really stuck with me. Because gratitude isn't just a feeling we have when everything's going great. It's a choice, a way of seeing the beauty in the ordinary, even when life feels messy. And you don't need anything fancy to begin. Each morning before getting out of bed, you can simply whisper, "Thank you for another day." Or each night, ask yourself, "What warmed my heart today?" Maybe it's your health. Maybe someone called just to check in. Maybe dinner was simple but delicious. Or maybe it was the sky after the rain. Science tells us that daily gratitude lowers anxiety, helps us sleep better, increases serotonin, the happiness hormone, and yes, it might even help us live longer. Because when we're grateful, we stop chasing and start noticing. We stop rushing and start living. I once encouraged a retired man battling depression to write down 3 small things that made him smile each day. A few weeks later, his face started to change. Not because life got easier, but because he started seeing the good that was already there. Gratitude doesn't erase pain or smooth out wrinkles, but it softens everything, like evening sunlight falling across an old rooftop. It doesn't fix the roof, but it makes it quietly beautiful. You don't need more to be grateful. You just need one moment of stillness and a fresh pair of eyes. And maybe, just maybe, that's how peace in aging begins. That's how we build a life that feels meaningful, whether it's long or short. Dear friend, we've just walked through 12 simple habits. Habits that may look small, but carry a quiet power to care for your health, your spirit, and the beautiful years still ahead. I don't know where you are on your journey right now. Maybe you're just starting to make changes. Maybe you're healing from loss. Or maybe you're simply looking for a gentler rhythm to live by. But if you're still here, still listening, then I believe there's something in you that still longs to live more deeply, more fully, more softly. You don't need to do all 12 things tomorrow. Just choose one that made your heart feel something, and begin there. Because starting again, at any age, is a sacred thing. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 12 habits touched you the most? Please leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Not just for me, but for others in our Elderly Life World community, who may find hope and inspiration through your story. And if you found value in these gentle reminders, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell so you don't miss our next video, filled with calm, meaningful, and helpful insights for your body and your soul after 50. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you in the next video, where we'll keep learning how to live not just longer, but also deeper and brighter.